In regards to the video topic, I just want to talk a little bit about my background. I've been in marketing for 17 plus years with a big influence in technology, primarily AI, IIoT, AR, VR. But how I've gotten here has been quite a journey in itself, and so I think that's kind of a topic for career journeys. What I would say is that when I was growing up as a young boy, 8 years old, I actually wanted to become a fighter pilot. And for about 8 years, I was building airplane models, going to see every air show, and was really enthralled with the culture of what it was to be a fighter pilot. And when I was 16, my eyes went really bad. And unfortunately, there was no way to get into the military with my eyes to be a fighter pilot. So that dream was crushed. And I thought to myself, maybe I can pivot to become an aeronautical engineer. I had very strong immigrant parents who believed in an education and wanted me to excel to the best of my abilities. I had skipped 2 grades, and to their wish, I applied for pre-med. And having done that for about a year, I realized that was not something I wanted to do. And so what I would say is that to your audience, it's really important to have passion. Passion and purpose are really the engines that drive the outcomes that you want to achieve. And we can talk about systematic things like developing goals and executing on them strategically. But really at the core of it, whatever you do, there should be passion burning bright within you. And I've had friends who kind of knew all along what they wanted to do. I have some friends who are physicists that work at CERN. I have some other friends who are in technology, and ever since we were kids, they knew exactly what they wanted to do. My approach was a little different. I was more of a jack of all trades, master of none. I wanted experience that all life could give me. And so I would say that one of the key things is to deductively determine what it is you don't want by trying things. At the time that I was growing up, failure was really never presented as an option. It was always an avoidance technique. And if you were in a position where you might fail, then you needed to do everything you could to mitigate that. And as I've gotten older, I've realized that failure is a wonderful thing. It is a lesson in itself. It is a teacher. And it often offers more knowledge and more wisdom than success will. And so I would say that whether you are a person who is looking to achieve a particular role or title, or if you are in pursuit of something that is just purely passion-based, or you're able to mix both those things together, fail. I highly encourage it. Be authentic, and that's another thing that I think has been a challenge in my generation, specifically growing up in the late 80s, early 90s. This dichotomy of business self and personal self, where business self was this professional, outward-facing, rigid person who was their title, their role. They only spoke in the vernacular of their role, and personal was whatever you did in your off time. And now we see that there really isn't this sort of one or the other. There's a harmony being created where people can just be their authentic self, expose themselves to their vulnerabilities, and expose others to their vulnerabilities so they can get feedback to improve. And I think for me, the last 2 years have been a paramount journey in that I've always tried to practice an authentic lifestyle, but I've also been in situations where I'm in rooms with, Fortune 100 CEOs, and I thought there was this other purpose that I had to drive when it was, in engagement and this professional demeanor. And so I would just say, make sure that no matter what you do, that you're constantly true to yourself. It's incredibly important that you don't bend yourself into a pretzel, that you don't do something that is not who you are. And whatever you're doing is driven by that passion and purpose of what you're trying to achieve.